Prepare yourself for a journey through time, a place where history, faith, and mystery collide. Since the dawn of civilization, one catastrophic event appears again and again, echoed in cultures separated by vast oceans and thousands of years. It's the story of a great flood that nearly wiped out all of humanity. We find it in the Bible, in the ancient texts of Mesopotamia, in India, Greece, the Americas, Africa, and even the remote islands of Oceania. They all tell a remarkably similar story. A day when the waters rose with terrifying speed, covering the entire world. For centuries, this has been dismissed as a myth, a simple fireside story. But what if it wasn't? What if there's real, tangible evidence that this global event truly happened? Today, we're diving deep. We will explore geological records, decipher ancient texts, uncover archaeological mysteries, and examine groundbreaking scientific discoveries. Our goal is to answer one single, profound question. Did the Great Flood really happen? The truth we uncover might just change everything you think you know about our past, and perhaps even the future of humanity. Across more than 200 ancient cultures, the same core story emerges. It's a pattern too consistent to ignore. First, a catastrophic flood, often sent by a higher power as a form of judgment or purification. Then, a chosen survivor or a single family, warned in advance of the coming disaster. They are instructed to build a vessel or find a safe place to escape the rising waters. And finally, after the waters recede, a new beginning for humankind. A chance to start over. The details might change from culture to culture. The names of the gods, the type of vessel, the duration of the flood, but the central narrative remains shockingly consistent. Is this all just a massive global coincidence? Or is it a collective memory? A deeply embedded scar on the human psyche from a real, shared trauma? Let's look at the ancient texts, the written echoes of this event. Long before the biblical story of Noah, the Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest surviving pieces of literature, tells of a man named Utnapishtim. The gods warned him of a great flood they were sending to destroy mankind. He was told to build a massive boat, a cube-shaped ark, and to save his family, craftsmen, and the seed of all living things. The parallels to Noah's Ark are undeniable. In India, Hindu scriptures describe a sage named Manu who is warned by the god Vishnu in the form of a fish about an impending cosmic flood. He builds a great ship, ties it to the fish's horn, and is guided to safety as the world drowns, eventually repopulating the earth. In Greek mythology, Zeus, angered by humanity's wickedness, decides to unleash a deluge. The titan Prometheus warns his son, Deucalion, who builds a chest with his wife Pyrrha. They float for 9 days and nights before landing on Mount Parnassus, the only land left above the water. And it doesn't stop there. From the Anishinaabe people of North America to the Quiche Maya in Central America, from the Aboriginal tribes of Australia to various peoples across Africa, the flood legend is a universal thread woven into the fabric of human storytelling. Different lands, different languages, yet one powerful shared memory. For a long time, modern science seemed to dismiss these stories. But recently the tide has turned. Far from dismissing the idea of a global flood, new discoveries in geology and archaeology might actually support it. Geologists have found something baffling all over the world. Sharp, distinct layers of sediment covering vast areas, sometimes spanning entire continents. These aren't the slow, gradual layers you'd expect. They are sudden, chaotic deposits, as if laid down by a massive, violent movement of water. In these layers, we find fossil beds that are equally perplexing. They're filled with a jumbled mix of land and sea creatures, all thrown together and buried in an instant. It's as if a monstrous wave swept across the land, mixing everything in its path before depositing it all in a watery grave. Intriguingly, many of these strange geological and fossil records date back to a similar period, roughly 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. Is this just another coincidence? Or is this the physical scar of a global disaster? This time frame is critical because it aligns perfectly with another massive global event, the end of the last ice age. At that time, colossal ice sheets that covered much of the northern hemisphere began to melt at an unprecedented rate. This wasn't a slow, gentle trickle. Scientists refer to it as meltwater pulse 1A, a period of shockingly rapid sea level rise. Imagine sea levels surging by more than 120 meters, or nearly 400 feet. Ancient coastlines, where many early human civilizations would have lived, simply vanished beneath the waves. Entire settlements, entire ecosystems were swallowed by the rising oceans. Could this rapid, catastrophic rise in sea levels be the scientific fingerprint of the Great Flood? The event that inspired the legends that would be passed down for millennia? It wasn't a flood from 40 days of rain, perhaps, but a flood from the oceans themselves, reclaiming the land. The evidence continues to mount, hidden in plain sight beneath the waves. Off the coast of Japan, divers discovered the Yonaguni Monument, a massive underwater rock structure with what appears to be man-made terraces, steps, and pillars. Some archaeologists believe it's a natural formation, but others are convinced it's the ruin of a 10,000-year-old city, submerged when sea levels rose. Similarly, off the coast of India in the Gulf of Cambay, sonar technology revealed the remains of a vast, ancient city, now 40 meters underwater. Artifacts recovered from the site have been dated to be over 9,500 years old, pushing back the timeline of urban civilization by thousands of years, and proving that advanced societies existed on land that is now deep beneath the sea. Sunken ruins have also been found in the Mediterranean, near Alexandria and in the Black Sea. Then there are the ancient maps, like the Piri Reis map of 1513. It astonishingly depicts the coast of Antarctica, but without its ice cap, a condition that hasn't existed for thousands of years. How could ancient mapmakers have known what that coastline looked like unless the information was passed down from a time before the ice? And perhaps most famously, there's the mystery on Mount Ararat in Turkey. This is the precise location where ancient texts, including the Bible and the Epic of Gilgamesh, say the Ark came to rest. High on the mountain, a massive boat-shaped formation exists. It's the exact length described in the book of Genesis. Ground-penetrating radar scans have revealed an internal structure with what looks like bulkheads and chambers. While its origin is still hotly debated, the coincidence is, at the very least, staggering. Coincidence after coincidence, or are these all just pieces of a forgotten truth, slowly resurfacing? So, where does this leave us? Some will always say the flood story is purely a metaphor, a moral tale about divine judgment and the chance for a fresh start. Others will believe it happened exactly as it is written in their sacred texts. But as archaeology and geology advance, they are revealing clues suggesting that both sides might hold a piece of the truth. A real cataclysmic geological event, the end of the Ice Age and the rapid rise of the oceans, could have been so devastating and universal that it was interpreted by ancient peoples as a divine act, a divine warning, a real cataclysm, and humanity starting again. What once sounded like pure legend may in fact be ancient historical memory, wrapped in the language of sacred story. So, did the Great Flood really happen? We may never have a perfect, definitive answer that satisfies everyone. The event is too far in our past, and the evidence too scattered and open to interpretation. But when history, science, and faith all seem to be pointing in the same direction, we have a duty to look deeper. Perhaps the most important question is not whether the flood happened, but why. Humanity has so carefully remembered it for thousands of years. Perhaps it was a warning, perhaps it was a cosmic reset, and perhaps it's a powerful reminder that civilizations, no matter how advanced, can be fragile in the face of nature's power. And that history could, one day, repeat itself. What do you believe? Let me know in the comments below. Was it myth? A collective memory of a natural disaster or a divine event? Your perspective is a valuable piece of this puzzle. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey into our forgotten past. Remember, some mysteries aren't meant to be ignored, they're meant to be rediscovered. If you enjoyed this exploration, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss our next deep dive into the unknown.